am angry and I'm sad. And I think those are feelings that are felt throughout this department and throughout the city.
Well, the final count on officers killed in 2023 hasn't been released yet, but we know that at least 123 heroes died during 1923. Now, this police officer, he was off duty when he tried to stop an 18-year-old from stealing $83 worth of beer in a convenience store. Well, hey everybody, welcome to Profiling Evil. It's New Year's Day, a day that should be pretty happy. New Year's Day 2024, and I'm sad to report that the first video that I'm going to release is about another police officer who was murdered while protecting the community that they serve. This officer, and the more tragic part of the story, is the fact that the killer murdered this police officer for $83 worth of beer. Hey, thanks for watching Profiling Evil through the years. Thanks for supporting us. Well, let me start on a little higher note. Thanks for watching Profiling Evil, and I hope that you're planning on joining us tonight at 8 o'clock Mountain Time for the return of choir practice. Now, make sure you're hitting that like and subscribe button, but most importantly, folks, make sure that you've got the notifications turned on so that when we release videos like this one, or when choir practice comes, you get the notifications. But I want to talk about a little heavier subject before choir practice tonight. This murder happened in Greensboro, North Carolina, just a few days ago. Now, Greensboro is a city of about 300,000 people. Sergeant Philip Delnix was shot and killed after he confronted a theft suspect at a gas station. Now, there was another off-duty police officer and a paramedic that were also in the store about the time this happened. I don't know if they were with Sergeant Nix, but they did everything they could to save his life, and they couldn't. But thankfully, from my perspective, this police officer at least died with public safety family members surrounding him. Now, that's no compensation for a family at home who doesn't have him there. This marks at least 123 police officers that were killed in the line of duty during 2023. And as you watch throughout this video, you're going to see the names and the faces of those officers who were killed scrolling past. I want to thank my friends over at Officer Down Memorial page. You know, I think about the simple fact that this officer was off duty, which means the predator who killed him just as easily could have killed any one of us if we tried to step in. So please, if you're a witness of a crime, do your very best to remain safe while remembering and digitally recording everything that you can safely do. Don't intervene, though. Please don't put yourself in jeopardy, but please capture as much information as you can because you might be the key to solving one of these. Now, in a press conference shortly after the officer's murder, the chief reported that Officer Nix had served 22 years in law enforcement. He said he was a loving father, husband, a son, and a brother. Chief Thompson held back the tears as he asked the community for their prayers for Sergeant Nix's family. You know, this sergeant was serving in a really unique role. For the last bit, he was serving as a supervisor of the Family Victim Unit, and he'd also spent more than a decade as a team leader for the peer support team, which means he was helping other officers through their career. Well, 3 suspects have been taken into custody now, and they're charged with various crimes related to Sergeant Nix's murder. 18-year-old Jameer Justice Foster was charged with first-degree murder. He was also charged with larceny for stealing $83 worth of beer and conspiracy to commit larceny. This kid, and actually this adult now, 18, remains in jail on a no-bond warrant. Now, an accomplice, 18-year-old Zakira, I hope I got that right, LaPierce Blackwell, was also charged with accessory after the fact to first-degree murder, and she remains in custody on a $500,000 bond. And finally, the 28-year-old there. What's a 28-year-old doing with two 18-year-olds? 28-year-old John Walter Morrison was charged with accessory after the fact to first-degree murder. He, too, was charged with larceny and conspiracy to commit larceny. And he also remains in jail with zero bail. Now, prosecutors are suggesting that additional charges might be levied as this investigation continues. So this thing is in the early stages, but it marks the end of a tragic year. More than 123 police officers murdered trying to protect people like you and me. Now it appears that Sergeant Nix did exactly what he was trained to do. He stepped into harm's way in the defense of the law. Again, this whole thing was over $83 worth of beer. The suspects were trying to steal the beer, but Sergeant Nix was trying to protect the livelihood of that store, its employees, and other customers that were there. It all unfolded at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the day of Saturday, December 30th, just 2 days ago. So let's watch that short press conference as the police chief and the entire command staff try to keep it all together.
This evening, the Greensboro Police Department lost one of our own. Around 4 p.m. at the Sheets located at 3202 Sandy Ridge Road, an off-duty Greensboro police sergeant witnessed a crime occurring. The officer approached the suspects and was subsequently shot. Another off-duty Greensboro police officer and a Guilford County paramedic were on scene and immediately rendered aid. The sergeant was transported to a local medical facility where he succumbed to his injuries. He was a loving husband, father, son, and brother, with 22 years of service to the department in this community. We ask for prayers for the family of the fallen officer and our Greensboro PD family. We will not be releasing the officer's information at this time out of respect for the family. This is an active and ongoing homicide investigation, and more information will be released in the coming days. Thank you.
Well, now a memorial sits in front of the police department for Sergeant Nix, and I'd encourage you, if you happen to live in that area, to go by and pay your respects. Well, as we move into 2024, my hope is that we might somehow be an agent of change, someone that does something about this divisiveness and lawlessness that's occurring. Let's make 2024 a year where we're more inclusive and less exclusive, that we're more compassionate, caring, and that we become really that person that is caring about and being our brother's keeper. I hope that 2024 is a great year for all of you. And again, I want to ask you, please join us for choir practice tonight at 8 o'clock Mountain Time. Now, my guests are going to be attorney and podcaster Melanie Little. And Vinnie Politan from Court TV is going to jump in, and we're going to chat with him for a while. And then we're going to revisit an old missing persons case, the case of Lloyd Reese, with his sister, Thunder Alexander. You might remember this case. We helped bury Lloyd Reese many, many years later. So check out Profiling Evil on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. And make sure you're checking out our 2024 audio podcast series, Down the Rabbit Hole. You can get it on your favorite podcast platform. And folks, please keep these slain police officers, and most importantly their families at this point, in your thoughts and prayers. And that includes keeping the law enforcement family in your prayers. Hey, thanks. We'll see you soon at the next crime scene.